Rita Dove's poetry is greatly influenced by her real-life experiences. Dove was born in Akron, Ohio on August 28, 1952, to Ray Dove, the first African-American chemist to work in the U.S. tire industry, and Elvira Horde. She had two younger sisters and an older brother. Her parents were very bright and encouraged her intellectually. She says, quote, "My parents instilled in us the feeling that learning was the most exciting thing that could happen to you, and it never ends. Isn't that great?" She discovered her gift for word manipulation in early childhood. She spent most of her time at the library with her nose in any book she could get her hands on, ranging from Emily Dickinson to Shakespeare. She said, "I wrote, but I always thought it was something that you did as a child. Then you put away childish things. I thought it was something I would do for fun. I didn't know writers could be real-life people, because I never knew any writers." After earning a National Merit Scholarship and ranking among the nation's top 100 high school seniors in 1970, she accepted a presidential scholarship and a tour of the White House. Although she was a Phi Beta Kappa inductee and a stellar graduate of Miami University, she disappointed her parents by taking creative writing workshops while pretending to study law. After a change of heart her junior year, she embraced poetry as a career goal and completed her education on a Fulbright scholarship at the University of Tübingen in Germany. When she was a junior in college, she read a poem by Sylvia Plath called Daddy. She says, quote, "It was the first time that I realized that you didn't have to be polite. It is not only the happy moments that should be talked about, but every moment. All the moments that make up a human being have to be written about, talked about, painted, and danced in order to really talk about life." While she was a teaching fellow at the Writers' Workshop of the University of Iowa, she earned an MFA in creative writing and issued a first volume, 10 poems. In 1979, Dove married novelist Fred Vebon, the father of their daughter Aviva Chantal, and the translator of the German editions of Dove's verse. She then began submitting to national poetry journals and published The Only Dark Spot in the Sky in 1980, as well as The Yellow House on the Corner. Dove taught creative writing at Arizona State University from 1981 to 1989. She received the 1987 Pulitzer Prize in Poetry. In 1992, she was named United States Poet Laureate by the Librarian of Congress, an office she held from 1993 to 1995. At age 40, Dove was the youngest person to hold the position, and is the first African American to hold the position since the title was changed to Poet Laureate. Dove reached literary maturity with Thomas and Beulah in 1986, a 44-poem tribute to her Southern-born maternal grandparents. The work reads like a novel and is based on the intimate glimpses on the stories of her grandmother Georgiana, who brightened widowhood by reliving romance and marriage through her shared memories. The book won the 1987 Pulitzer Prize for Poetry, the first awarded to a black female since Gwendolyn Brooks in 1950. In 1993, Miss Dove was named one of 10 Outstanding Women of the Year by Glamour magazine, and the NAACP honored her with its Great American Artist Award, followed in 1994 by the Folger Shakespeare Library's Renaissance Forum Award for Leadership in the Literary Arts, the Golden Plate Award from the American Academy of Achievement, and the Carl Sandburg Award from the International Platform Association. President Bill Clinton even presented her with the 1996 Charles Frankel Prize, the U.S. government's highest honor for writers and scholars. Dove says, quote, "My inspiration comes from everywhere, just walking down the street, and I never know where it's going to come from, so I keep a notebook with me at all times, and the only criteria for anything making it into that notebook is if it stops me in my track for even an instant. If it catches my eye or my ear, I just write it down. My early influences were Shakespeare, Edna St. Vincent Millay, and Heinrich Heine." She was the Poet Laureate of the Commonwealth of Virginia from 2004 to 2006. In 2006, she received the Commonwealth Award of Distinguished Service, and in 2007, she became a Chubb Fellow at Yale University. In 2008, she was honored with the Library of Virginia's Lifetime Achievement Award. Barack Obama presented her with the 2011 National Medal of Arts as well, making her the only poet with both the National Humanities Medal and the National Medal of Arts to her credit. To date, 24 honorary doctorates have been bestowed upon Rita Dove, earning her fellowships from the National Endowment for the Arts, the Guggenheim, and the National Humanities Center. We lie down screaming as rain punches through and we come up green. We cannot speak an R. Out of the swamp, the cane appears. A little bit of background first. Rafael Trujillo, who was called El General throughout some of this poem, was the military dictator of the Dominican Republic who ordered nearly 20,000 migrant workers from Haiti to be killed because they couldn't pronounce the Spanish word for parsley. More specifically, they couldn't pronounce the letter R. Parsley in Spanish is perejil, so if it came out pelagil, the speaker was condemned to death for having a Haitian accent. The word we here sucks the reader in and makes them feel as though they too are an immigrant worker from Haiti. It establishes a sense of community. Lie down could have multiple meanings. It could imply exhaustion and a desire to rest after a hard day's work, or giving in to an external force. I think in this case, Dove is illustrating lying down in response to the rain mentioned later in the line. She compares it to being beaten repeatedly, just as a boxer in a ring. These workers are beaten down by the general in the scorching sun until their knees give out and they lie down and give it to the power held over them. Here we're suddenly introduced to these violent verbs. There's a feeling of death in the air, with punching, screaming, and lying down. The word screaming in this line branches off the like parrot line that ends the previous stanza. Parrots can in fact make some noises that sound eerily like screaming with their squawking and screeching. It foreshadows a violent outcome. In addition, the rain illustrated here is just like bullets. The rain punching through mirrors the effect of a bullet piercing skin, which also foreshadows the death to come. We come up implies that these workers can get through the harsh times. It instills a sense of hope in the reader. It also brings in a Christian element, relating to the resurrection and the overall cycle of life and death. In death, we find new life and salvation. We rise up from the ashes of our past to a brighter future, free of abuse. When we die, we decompose. We decompose and seep into the earth, and things grow through us and we come up green, possibly as grass? In a way, this is harrowingly hopeful here. We'll come back and green and full of life again. There's still a strange horror, however. It is also important that green is the color of the parrot. The parrot is fresh and green, just like spring. The beauty here masks the horror. The narrator then provides us with a reason for the Haitian workers' deaths. We cannot speak an R. Because of Dove's preface, we know that this is why the Haitians were killed, because they couldn't pronounce the R in the word for parsley. They have not been killed yet in the poem, because the general at this point is still deciding on a word, but we know it's coming, and we can tell that the workers are fearful. The dash after the R serves as a pause in the line. An eerie pause. We have seen the death imagery up to this point, and this dash appears to be the silence before the violence ensues. It's an eerie calm and quiet. The workers know something isn't quite right, and they're taking a breath. It foreshadows the violence ahead and allows the reader to reflect. This sets up a completely new setting for us. We used to be set in the palace, but now we've moved to the swamps. This is because sugarcane must be grown in extremely wet tropical climates, so we're somewhere tropical. We might not know exactly where if not for Dove's note, which explains that we're in the Dominican Republic, and the Dominican Republic is in fact a tropical climate. And then Dove pulls us around again, repeating line 3, the cane appears. We wait for the inevitable, and we know what's going to happen in those cane fields. She brings us back to this refrain in a way to bring us back to the central crop, the cane, on whom the lives of these workers and the general depends.